The film opens under the cover of night in a quiet Louisiana swamp, where a giant alligator wearing a GPS tracker glides silently through the murky water. Without warning, it is violently attacked by an unknown entity lurking beneath the surface. The scene cuts to the vibrant streets of New Orleans. Sistine and her best friend Hannah are knocking back shots in a local bar. The fun halts when Sistine's boss calls her, excusing herself. She tries to reason with her boss, pleading that her trip had been approved for almost a year and she had worked extra hours for it. Her boss callously hangs up, leaving Sistine looking devastated. She returns to Hannah, who is reviewing pamphlets with a local guide named Rodrigo. Sistine wants to retire to her room, but Hannah stops her, explaining that Rodrigo provided discounted tickets for a Bayou alligator tour. Rodrigo adds that Hannah already paid for them both for tomorrow's excursion before excusing himself. Sistine finally confesses to Hannah that she just got fired. Hannah warmly consoles her friend, revealing she has her mother's credit card with instructions to spend the money and have a good time. Reminding Sistine not to worry, Hannah proudly declares herself a fixer who always finds a way to make things right, which is exactly why she keeps her around. Convinced, Sistine agrees, and they party the rest of the night away. The next day, Rodrigo gathers his small tour group. There is a family of 3, a grandfather named Tim, his daughter Sally, and his grandson Mikey. Sistine and Hannah arrive severely hungover. Tim tries to hype Mikey up about seeing alligators, but the boy gives no response. Suddenly, a woman named Dion rushes in wearing a professional work outfit, entirely unsuited for a swamp. Her flight had been pushed to a red-eye, so she squeezed the tour in, hoping to photograph a giant alligator to send to her son. Mikey excitedly tells the girls to call him Mike, while Dion introduces herself as Dee. At the tour's starting point, Rodrigo, who likes to be called Captain, tells the group the boat leaves in 30 minutes. They head into a nearby souvenir shop owned by a Portuguese hunter named Almeida. Inside, Mike and Sally discover a massive animal skull in a glass box. Mike guesses it belongs to a prehistoric saber-toothed tiger, but Almeida approaches from behind, directing them further inside. He shows them a hippopotamus skull, explaining he shot the beast in Africa decades ago. Almeida shares a chilling fact. Despite being vegetarians, hippos kill more humans annually than almost any other large animal. When it comes to their young, a mother hippo will fight to the death before letting anything near her baby. Sistine and Hannah walk in, and Sistine remarks that hippos are cute. Almeida coldly replies, they are only cute when dead. Hannah asks to take photos, and Almeida demands $5 before dismissing the idea and walking away. Mike eagerly steps in to help the girls take pictures. Outside, Rodrigo sets up his GPS, locks it into the boat, and helps everyone board. Mike chats with Sistine, revealing he is from Buffalo. Tim fondly tells Sally that her mother would have loved this trip. Meanwhile, Dion is glued to a work call until she steps onto the boat. Rodrigo seats her next to Tim. As Mike helps Dion board, she accidentally drops her phone. Sistine picks it up, notices a photo of Dion's kids, and calls them beautiful. Dion texts her kids, "I love you," but they ignore her messages. Rodrigo announces that safety vests aren't mandatory, but Sally and Dion request them. As Sally puts hers on, Tim jokes that gators are attracted to bright orange. Rodrigo corrects him. Alligators are actually attracted to pink, both for attacking and playing. He warns the group that gators sometimes bite, advising them to keep their limbs. And cameras inside the boat? Rodrigo promises to show them Big Ben, a massive alligator over 12 feet long. The tour begins smoothly, with the group spotting raccoons and smaller gators using his tracking device. Rodrigo navigates to Big Ben's last known location. He tosses marshmallows into the water, explaining that gators mistake them for floating eggs. When nothing happens, he throws in a whole chicken, but Ben still doesn't take the bait. Sistine suggests looking around the corner. Suddenly, Mike reaches for the chicken and is violently pulled underwater. The group screams, but Mike pops up laughing. It was merely a prank, though his mother is far from pleased. Further down the river, Dion spots an alligator. It is Ben, still wearing his tracker. but his head has been completely severed from his body. Terrified, Tim asks, "What could have done this?" Rodrigo gravely answers, "Something big." Dion, wanting her $300 VIP detour's worth, insists on getting closer for a photo. Rodrigo warns it's a bad idea. Tim firmly demands Rodrigo take them back to safety. As they are 3 to 4 miles deep into the swamp, Mike calms his grandfather down and they begin heading back. On the return trip, an upset Tim threatens to speak with Rodrigo's boss. Without warning, the boat is violently jolted. Sistine shouts that something is underneath them. The boat is tossed aggressively from left to right before completely toppling over, spilling everyone into the murky swamp. The survivors scramble atop the capsized hull, but Rodrigo is missing. Tim helps Dion, but she isolates herself by climbing a nearby tree, hearing water gurgling in the distance. Sally urges her father out of the water. Suddenly, Rodrigo emerges, spewing blood from his mouth, and swims to the boat. Just as he climbs up, something slams into the hull again. Wedging the boat tightly between some swamp trees, Rodrigo has a massive gash on his shoulder from a 10-inch tooth and is bleeding profusely. Sally, a nurse, knows she must cauterize the wound. A flare gun box floats nearby. Sistine hangs dangerously from a tree branch to retrieve it, while something sinister glides just beneath the surface. Tim heats a knife with the flare gun, and Sally cauterizes the brutal injury. When Rodrigo regains his senses, he delivers grim news. They are way off course. The boat's tracker sent their last location. But the company won't notice they are missing until closing time at 7 p.m., which is hours away. Refusing to stay after dark, the group formulates a plan. Tim manages to grab a floating water basket on his first try, and they share the bottles to keep their spirits up.
Nice.
In a quiet moment, Sistine confesses to Hannah that since her mom got sick, she has been crushed by mounting bills and the terror of losing her house. She feels like a failure at college, gymnastics, taking care of her mom. In keeping a basic job, Hannah reassures her that things will get better. Suddenly, Mike spots bubbling water and warns Tim. Tim orders Sally and Mike higher into the trees. While climbing, Sally slips into the water. Sistine bravely jumps in and rescues her. Then, Hannah sees the beast charging. It slams into a tree trunk, throwing Hannah into the water. As something swirls around Hannah, Sistine guides her toward a low-hanging branch, fearing the girls won't make it. Tim jumps into the water. Instantly, he is pulled underneath, and a massive geyser of blood erupts. Tim is dead. Hannah desperately swims to a tree trunk and climbs up. But just as she seems safe, a colossal animal lunges from the water and drags her under. Everyone weeps in sheer terror. Back at the dock, Almeida grows impatient. Seeing Rodrigo's trackers switched off, he heads into the swamp himself. Back at the wreckage, Mikey asks Rodrigo how a hippo could have gotten there, but Rodrigo is unresponsive. Mikey suggests lighting a signal fire, while Dion proposes a ring of fire and asks someone to dive under the boat to check the tracker. Sistine volunteers. Underwater, she is horrified to discover Hannah's body and silently grieves. She recovers the lockbox and phone, but is startled when Mike pops out of the water, warning her that they are running out of fuel and need to hurry. The salvaged phone is water damaged, but Rodrigo manages to turn it into a fire. Rodrigo is awoken by the deep hum of an engine. The group is elated as rock music blares through the swamp, but their hope dies when the boat suddenly goes silent and crashes loudly. Ran out of fuel. Almeida comes rowing toward them. Hearing their story, Almeida insists a hippo attack is impossible until he sees Rodrigo's mangled shoulder. They load Rodrigo into Almeida's boat. A disgruntled Dion threatens to sue the company for the unsafe conditions. Mike snaps back, pointing out they wouldn't be stranded if Dion hadn't forced the VIP detour. Dion angrily grabs Rodrigo. When Mike tries to defend him, he is shoved into the water. Mike pops his head up, but a giant hippo's head rises right behind him. With one brutal bite, the hippo takes him out. Sally is left absolutely inconsolable, refusing to risk the open water at night. Almeida orders a retreat into the trees. He admits he only has 2 tranquilizers, doubting it's enough for a beast this size. While Almeida and Rodrigo share a beer, a grief-stricken Sally quietly slips into the water humming a lullaby and disappears into the fog to her death. With everyone distracted, the hippo launches up behind Almeida and bites his foot. Rodrigo quickly shoots it with 1 dart. The hippo retreats but drags Almeida underwater by his foot. Almeida resurfaces with severe lacerations and a bleeding leg, but Rodrigo has passed out from blood loss and exhaustion. Almeida instructs the guests to splash the water as a distraction, while he retrieves the second tranquilizer. When he steps into the water, the massive hippo blocks his path. He runs, fending the beast off with the flare gun, while Sistine bravely swims to the boat for the tranquilizer. Almeida, Dion, and Sistine scramble into the boat and row away. As they row, Almeida delivers a strange history lesson. Louisiana gifted invasive Japanese water hyacinths that clogged the waterways. In 1912, an American politician signed off on a plan to farm hippos for meat to combat a shortage, hoping the hippos would eat the hyacinths. Dion is furious to realize they are sitting in the middle of the hippo's favorite food. Using a night vision camera salvaged from Hannah's bag, Sistine spots a man-made structure in the dark. They steer toward it and discover an old, dilapidated alligator skinning farm. Searching the rusted cages and equipment for fuel or a radio, they find 1912 import records confirming the failed hippo farming project. They also find skeletons of multiple hippo generations surrounded by wild hyacinths. Suddenly, they hear a loud cry. Beneath a fallen cage, a baby hippo is trapped. The horrifying truth dawns on them. The adult hippo hasn't been hunting them randomly. It has been protecting its trapped baby all day. The furious mother hippo arrives and charges Sistine. Almeida fires his final tranquilizer, but misses. Sistine narrowly escapes into the farm with Almeida's help. Searching for flammables, they find a large can of oil. Almeida decides to kill the beast. He instructs Sistine, the fastest runner, to light the fire, run out, and meet at the boat. But as they move to leave, Almeida finds himself face to face with the hippo. He orders the girls to flee out the back door. As the hippo charges him, Dion selfishly seals the door shut behind them, trapping Almeida inside. He is instantly crushed to death under the enormous animal's weight. As the door begins to snap, Sistine and Dion split up to confuse the beast. Sistine yells at Dion to escape through a hatch they found earlier and wait at the boat. Dion takes the stairs, but shatters her leg jumping down the hatch. As the hippo inches towards Sistine across the room, she strikes a match, setting the flammable building ablaze with the hippo inside, and sprints out. Sistine wants to wait for help, hoping the fire will attract attention, but Dion demands to go to the boat. They go their separate ways. As Dion limps away, the surviving mother hippo appears, charges, and pummels her to a bloody death. Sistine is frozen in terror. In the final stretch, she stands face to face with the mother hippo, the baby still trapped nearby. Instead of running, Sistine carefully approaches. She speaks softly to the mother hippo, telling the beast she understands it is only trying to protect its baby just as Sistine's own mother had protected her. Sistine works the heavy cage off the baby, freeing it. As the mother and baby are peacefully reunited, Sistine hears the unmistakable chopping blades of an approaching helicopter. She calls out for help. Finally rescued, Sistine glances one last time at the swamp, tears welling in her eyes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the recaps, PLs, like and subscribe.
See you in the next recap.